The early 21st century witnessed the rise of a new economic and geopolitical force, BRICS. This coalition of nations has become a significant player on the global stage, challenging the traditional power structures and offering a new vision for international cooperation. This acronym, coined in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill, originally represented Brazil, Russia, India, and China. O'Neill's insight was based on the rapid economic growth and potential of these countries, which he believed would reshape the global economy. These emerging economies shared common challenges and aspirations. They were all experiencing rapid industrialization, urbanization, and a growing middle class. However, they also faced issues such as poverty, inequality, and the need for sustainable development. They sought greater influence on the world stage. The leaders of these nations recognized that by working together, they could amplify their voices and push for reforms in global governance structures that had long been dominated by Western powers. In 2009, the leaders of these nations held their first summit. This historic meeting marked the beginning of a new era of collaboration and mutual support among these diverse yet similarly ambitious countries. This marked the formal establishment of BRICS as a platform for dialogue and cooperation. The summits provided a venue for discussing a wide range of issues from economic policies to social development and environmental protection. The formation of BRICS signaled a shift in global power dynamics. It was a clear indication that the world was moving towards a more multipolar order, where multiple centers of power coexist and interact. The traditional Western-led order faced a new contender. The rise of BRICS challenged the dominance of institutions like the G7 and the International Monetary Fund, which had long been the arbiters of global economic policies. BRICS nations, with their vast populations and resources, aimed to reshape the global landscape. They sought to leverage their natural and human resources to drive economic growth and development, both within their own borders and globally. Their collective voice grew louder. As they coordinated their efforts and presented a united front, the influence of BRICS in international forums and negotiations increased significantly. They demanded a greater say in international institutions and decision-making processes. BRICS countries pushed for reforms in the United Nations, the World Bank, and other global institutions to better reflect the realities of the 21st century. The BRICS nations recognized their shared interests. They understood that by working together, they could achieve more than by acting alone. This sense of solidarity was a driving force behind their cooperation. They sought to leverage their growing economic clout. By coordinating their economic policies and investments, BRICS countries aim to create new opportunities for trade, investment, and development. They aim to promote South-South cooperation. This approach emphasized mutual support and collaboration among developing countries, as opposed to the traditional North-South dynamic where developed countries dominated. They wanted to address issues like poverty, inequality, and climate change. BRICS nations recognized that sustainable development required tackling these pressing challenges head-on. The BRICS platform provided a space for these nations to coordinate their efforts. Through regular meetings and joint initiatives, they were able to share best practices, align their strategies, and support each other's development goals. It allowed them to project a united front on the global stage. This unity was crucial in negotiations and discussions with other major powers and international organizations. The emergence of BRICS has had profound implications for the world. It has not only altered the economic landscape but also influenced political and social dynamics globally. It has challenged the existing global order. The rise of BRICS has prompted a rethinking of global governance and the roles of different countries in shaping the future. It has given a voice to the aspirations of developing nations. BRICS has become a symbol of the potential for emerging economies to influence global policies and advocate for their interests. The rise of BRICS has ushered in an era of multipolarity. This new era is characterized by a more balanced distribution of power, where no single country or group of countries can dominate unchallenged. This new era is characterized by shifting alliances and a diffusion of power. As the world continues to evolve, the role of BRICS and other emerging powers will be crucial in shaping a more inclusive and equitable global order. The BRICS nations represent a significant portion of the global economy. These countries, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been increasingly influential on the world stage, both economically and politically. Together, they account for over 40% of the world's population. This massive demographic advantage provides a substantial labor force and consumer market, driving economic growth and development. They contribute to a quarter of global GDP. This economic contribution is not just a number, it translates into real influence in global markets, trade negotiations, and international policy making. This economic weight gives BRICS considerable leverage in international affairs. Their collective bargaining power allows them to push for reforms in global governance structures, making them more representative of the current global economic landscape. China, the world's second-largest economy, plays a pivotal role within BRICS. Its rapid industrialization and technological advancements have set a benchmark for other developing nations. Its economic might and global ambitions have driven much of the group's agenda. The Belt and Road Initiative, for instance, aims to enhance global trade routes, benefiting not just China, but also its BRICS partners and other countries involved. India, with its booming IT sector and young workforce, is another major player. The country's focus on technology and innovation has made it a global hub for software development and IT services. Brazil, rich in natural resources, and Russia, an energy giant, bring their strengths to the table. Brazil's vast agricultural and mineral wealth complements Russia's dominance in oil and natural gas, making them crucial suppliers in global markets. The combined economic power of BRICS has allowed them to challenge the dominance of Western institutions. By presenting a united front, they can negotiate better terms in international agreements and push for a more balanced global economic order. They have established their own development bank, the New Development Bank. This institution aims to fund infrastructure and sustainable development projects within BRICS countries and other emerging economies. This bank provides an alternative to the World Bank and the IMF. By offering more favorable loan terms and focusing on the needs of developing nations, the New Development Bank is reshaping the financial landscape. BRICS nations have also created a contingent reserve arrangement. This financial safety net is designed to provide liquidity support to member countries during times of economic stress. This acts as a safety net during financial crises. It ensures that BRICS countries can maintain financial stability and continue their development trajectories even in turbulent times. The rise of BRICS has shifted the balance of economic power. No longer are Western nations the sole arbiters of global economic policies. BRICS countries now have a significant say in shaping the future. The West no longer holds a monopoly on global finance and trade. Emerging markets led by BRICS are becoming increasingly influential, driving new trends and setting new standards. BRICS nations are forging new partnerships. These alliances extend beyond their own group, reaching out to other developing nations and even some developed countries. They are creating their own rules. By establishing new trade routes and economic initiatives, BRICS is not just participating in the global economy but actively shaping it. These actions are reshaping the global economic landscape. As BRICS continues to grow and evolve, its influence will only increase, challenging the status quo and paving the way for a more multipolar world. In a significant development, Indonesia officially joined BRICS in January 2025. This move expanded the bloc to 6 members. It solidified BRICS's position as a major force in the global south. Indonesia, Southeast Asia's largest economy, brought its own unique strengths to the group. Indonesia's inclusion in BRICS was strategically significant. It expanded the bloc's geographical reach. It enhanced its influence in the Indo-Pacific region. This region is increasingly seen as the epicenter of global geopolitics. Indonesia's large population and growing economy added to BRICS's overall weight. The decision to join BRICS reflected Indonesia's desire for greater strategic autonomy. It sought to diversify its partnerships beyond the traditional Western-led order. Indonesia saw BRICS as a platform to amplify its voice on global issues. It wanted to shape the rules of the game. Indonesia's membership in BRICS further solidified the bloc's role as a counterweight to the West. It demonstrated the growing appeal of BRICS to developing nations. This expansion signaled a shift towards a more multipolar and balanced world. One of the most significant initiatives undertaken by BRICS is the move towards de-dollarization. This initiative is not just a fleeting trend, but a strategic shift aimed at reshaping the global financial landscape. This involves reducing their reliance on the US dollar in international trade and finance. By doing so, BRICS nations aim to gain greater control over their economic destinies and reduce the influence of external economic pressures. The goal is to create a more multipolar financial system. a system where no single currency dominates, allowing for a more balanced and fair global economic environment. This would reduce their vulnerability to US economic policies. In the past, many countries have found themselves at the mercy of decisions made in Washington, which can have far-reaching impacts on their economies. BRICS nations have taken concrete steps to promote the use of their own currencies in bilateral trade. This move is not just symbolic but practical, as it helps to build trust and economic interdependence among member countries. They are exploring the creation of a common currency for intra-BRICS transactions. Such a currency could streamline trade and investment flows, making it easier for businesses to operate across borders within the BRICS framework. This would reduce transaction costs. Lower transaction costs mean more efficient trade, which can lead to increased economic activity and growth. It would also mitigate currency risks. By using a common or regional currency, BRICS countries can shield themselves from the volatility and unpredictability of the global currency markets. The de-dollarization drive is partly driven by concerns about the weaponization of the US dollar. The US has, on several occasions, used its currency as a tool to exert political pressure. Sanctions imposed by the United States on countries like Russia and Iran have highlighted the risks of over-reliance on the dollar. These sanctions can cripple economies, making it imperative for countries to seek alternatives. BRICS nations seek to create a more resilient and equitable financial system, a system that can withstand external shocks and provide a stable environment for growth and development. The move towards de-dollarization is a long-term process. It faces significant challenges. These include the entrenched position of the US dollar and the need for substantial economic and financial reforms within BRICS countries. The US dollar remains the dominant global reserve currency. Its widespread use and acceptance make it a formidable force in international finance. However, BRICS' efforts to reduce their dependence on the dollar represent a significant challenge to the existing financial order. If successful, this could lead to a more diversified and stable global financial system, benefiting not just BRICS nations but the world at large.